Hello, students, and welcome to our first Monday morning review as well as our overview while we lead into a discussion and just some points for consideration in our second week. I have some notes in front of me, so that's why I'll be looking down often just to keep me focused on specific notes I took during week one and points of clarification or anything that I felt should be reiterated or stated as we head into week two. I really enjoyed reading all the bios and getting to know each of you on a little bit more personal level. I think that's important to do in an online course format because, as many of you mentioned, you miss the face-to-face, and it takes a little bit of the humanistic aspects and benefits out of a traditional classroom setting. So it's good for me to kind of get an idea of you as a person and also you as a professional, and so much experiences among each of you really could make this class very meaningful in that you all have quite a bit of experience. And even though most of you reported not having formal leadership content experience, you bring a wealth of practical knowledge to the table, and that's really exciting to generate future conversations. And some of you, I kind of know where you're from, even though you're sprinkled all over the country, so that was fun to read. I will say there was kind of a general theme, though, about the topics you want to discuss, and some of which we will definitely get into. But, you know, if I do anything for you all semester long in this course, it's to help maybe demystify what leadership is, because there were just certain comments or statements here and there that made me take a step back and think a lot of folks not in the leadership realm, myself included, prior to taking this kind of sharp left turn, because all my background in education is in healthcare until my doctorate in leadership. But I really had to realize that there are many stereotypes associated to leadership, many ideas about leadership, what good leadership is, that are incorrect, that we just are conditioned to believe given what we perceive to be true or what we've been exposed to. And I really hope that if you walk away with a couple really pearls of learning this semester are, breaking down those stereotypes and having you examine how you've thought leadership or examine what you thought leadership is and how it should look, and just kind of demystify all the leadership stereotypes for you. There are a couple thematic things related to assignments that I took into consideration. Many of you said, these are the pros and cons to different assignments in this class, and working closely with Dr. Simpson and personally caring about my pedagogic or andragogic approach, whether I have undergraduates or graduate students in my classroom, I've really made changes to this course since I previously taught it in 2017. So I've taught it 3 times. This is about my 4th time. And I've taken student feedback into consideration, as well as feedback from Dr. Simpson and just best practice for online teaching. So what I've done is developed a variety of assignments that allow each learner to capitalize on their strengths. While I understand that all of you will enjoy every assignment, given its structure, there are heavier writing assignments a couple times. There are more discussion forum posts, which some of you reported being one of your more preferred methods of learning, just to engage with your peers. There is one group assignment where I used to have 2 or 3, but I understand the issues that come along with that in an online class and just being in different time zones and having crazy busy lives. So I've pared that down to 1. I think the importance of keeping that 1 is that we're in a leadership class where we have to learn about our own leadership strengths and leadership preferences, and working in teams, working in leadership communication and organization, understanding not everyone operates the same way we do, and our default is to expect that of others, you got to work through some stuff. And I don't think that's a terrible thing. The first myth I will share with you right now is that great leaders make leadership look really easy. But I will tell you that a mantra you hear time and time again in the leadership academic realm is most leaders are uncomfortable every single day. And it's not that they don't know what they're doing or not competent in what they're doing, but they are more comfortable being uncomfortable than the general population. So if you're uncomfortable with some assignments, great. I kind of want you to be. I kind of want you to have to chew on some stuff. I kind of want you to have to work through some uncertainty, not so much on the actual requirements of the assignment, but the content of the assignment. Which kind of takes me to the next point. Because I've restructured this class so much, I don't have specific assignment examples for every assignment that's been provided. And I know how helpful those can be. But I also know, working with adult learners, you are all intrinsically motivated. You are all here for a reason. You are all very intellectually curious. And if you put into it, what you put into it, you get back. So if you provide if you submit assignments that are of sound reasoning, strongly supported by literature, with a great academic voice and tone, you'll more than likely do okay on your assignments in this class. Even on the forum posts, if you're just kind of a quicker to the point type person, want to bullet point your responses, that's perfectly fine. But I believe you get a little bit more meaningfulness out of a narrative structure because you have more time to reflect. And that's another big component of being a great leader, is that you're able to examine yourself on a very deep level and how you immerse yourself in a situation or content or context. So that's kind of my FYI on assignment examples, but I'm here if you ever have questions and need any clarification on anything. Which sort of takes me to my next point. I made a note about office hours. My virtual office hours are going to be hosted on Canvas through Big Blue Button. You should have received an email about that today. Those will be every Wednesday, 7 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. They are not mandatory. This is just an opportunity that I am providing, and that Anna will also host at some Wednesdays, where we will be on this virtual platform. I'll probably be working on other work as well, but my purpose is to be there to answer questions in a more intimate setting, one-on-one, face-to-face, and in real time. It's the middle of the week. Hopefully you've examined some of the week's content, so if you have questions or just really unsure of an upcoming assignment or week or whatever it may be, that is an opportunity to get one-on-one FaceTime with me or Anna. Anna will be hosting office hours the last Wednesday of every month. If you can't attend or never attend a single one, that is not a penalty on your end. But just find a way to communicate with me if you do have questions. If that time doesn't work for you, or if a question comes up on a Thursday or Friday, communication is just important. There are rubric examples. I know I said I don't have assignment examples, but rubrics for forums, your brief, your screencasts are available under files on Canvas, and they are very general rubrics. They don't go into specific required areas of content, but that information is included in the syllabus. Switching gears here a little bit, I was really excited when I found the book for this class. We do dive into almost all the chapters except maybe one or two, but not to say that you shouldn't just read those on your own. I think they're wonderful additions to consider in leadership, and the fact that this is, I want to say, the only speech language pathology leadership book I came across. I did a lot of research. Originally, I just did a healthcare leadership text, but I figure if we can tailor the information to your profession, we should, because every profession, if you do a lot of interprofessional education, which I'm assuming many of you do, work with other healthcare providers, you kind of find that each profession operates differently, even in their leadership capacities. We call that organizational culture, and we're just very early on in our careers kind of conditioned to operate a certain way. And if an SLP book in leadership didn't exist, I guess I could just default to a healthcare one, but I think it's really really neat that there's one out there for your profession now. I think that in general, speech is doing everything it can to kind of catch up and provide different platforms and resources and opportunities for the professions in the membership and ASHA too, to capitalize on leadership development. Whereas, many other professions, the one that always comes up is nursing and then PT. Surprisingly, athletic training does pretty well with leadership literature specific to our profession. So my last couple notes here, what makes a great healthcare leader? That's not something I can answer in a quick 5-minute response, but I will say that it is one of the most challenging positions to be in because of how quickly healthcare changes and how quickly everything around healthcare changes. Everything from the political climate to insurance to big hospital systems impact what we want our leadership to look like, right? So what we can do is advocate for our patients, educate them as much as we can, but realize even if we're not in a position of formal leadership, I'm not a supervisor or I'm not the lead, whatever, I don't know. In my world, it would be head athletic trainer or athletic director or physician. But if I know as a valued member of a team, something needs changed or done or examined, then it is my professional duty to maybe shake things up a little bit and challenge the current process, challenge status quo, ask questions. People sometimes are just afraid to ask because they don't know what the answer is going to be or they don't want to get any backlash. This is anecdotal, but 9 times out of 10, when I think I'm going into a difficult situation revolving around policy or healthcare management, normally that conversation ends up being very positive. And I go into it with this preconceived notion that it's just going to be really difficult and I'm going to get shut down and I'm going to get all these no's, and maybe I will, but at least I challenge the process. That's the biggest part about being a little person. You're not little, you have a voice. And if you're in a setting where you don't and you have no say, then I challenge you to examine why you're there. That's a big hot topic in leadership, is this idea of burnout and not being valued and the people we're working for just, running us over every single day because we allow it to happen. It's the culture that's been created, and that's a big leadership phenomenon. So that's my little soapbox / literature insight on the idea of what makes a great healthcare leader is challenging the process. Just a quick overview on week 2. You are getting into the textbook as well as a pretty popular article that you're reading, examining the idea of, if we looked at leadership on a spectrum, we have transactional leaders and transformational leaders. That's very, that dichotomy is kind of silly when you really think about it. Like, some people do tend to be one or the other, but there's so many other types of leaders out there. You're going to be doing an assessment on your leadership strengths, so you'll learn about a couple more. But just to begin the conversation and understand theories, transformational and transactional leadership theories are by far the most popular and most often researched and discussed. And we all want to be transformational, we all want to be innovative, and we all want to be seen as this great leader. But like, is it, this question is rhetorical, you can think about it for a minute, but maybe being too transformational is not a good thing. Maybe being too transformational makes people feel aloof, maybe makes people feel uncertain of their future, because you need a balance. You need someone who's task oriented, you need someone who can get the job done, but you also need someone who's a big picture thinker, because if you're too task oriented, then your people don't feel as empowered. So just as life is, leadership is a balance, and it's being able to identify your context and your followers' needs, but putting them in a position to thrive is the goal. So that's my 2 cents for the week. I'll do this every Monday. Ideally, I'll record them Sunday night so they're available first thing Monday. But I appreciate your patience with my technological glitches. And please let me know if you have any questions between now and Wednesday. If you can make office hours, great. If you don't have any questions and don't have the time to pop on, that's fine too. But just know that we'll be available to reach out to should you need us.